Let's start. Inshallah, first of all, Jazakallah khair for taking this time out. I know it's Ramadan and I know it's tough. So the whole idea of this course was actually to complete it last week, the previous Ramadan, and my fault that I went on a travel that actually pushed it out to this week. Otherwise, you would have completed it last week. Okay. So inshallah, today's class is not super heavy class. I hope you will find it as a lighter class. And inshallah, today is the final session, and we will conclude this entire course today. And we'll take a little bit of view of where we were right in the beginning of the class and where we are now. Right. So it's the language of the Quran, and it's the Quran. You cannot expect to digest everything and learn everything and be experts in everything in just 10 classes. Okay, this is the book of Allah and the word of Allah. Okay, so but we will inshallah do this analysis of where we are and where we have become, where we've come inshallah so far in these last classes, 10 classes, and I will give you some advice on how potentially you can keep on going if you want to continue this journey inshallah. Okay. So today I want to cover three topics. All are easy topics, not difficult topics. And inshallah, once we have covered those three topics and important topics, we will dive a little bit into the Quran. We'll open up our template surah, maybe Surah Munafiqun, and we will go through the analysis of that surah to as much of an extent as we can together. It will help you understand and apply what you have learned overall in everything, bring everything together as a conclusion of this course. And inshallah, I will give you some guidance after that on where you can continue if you want to continue this journey. It's a phenomenal journey. And if you really go on this journey seriously with commitment, there are lots of fruits to, inshallah, get out of it. So let's start, inshallah. So my base assumption, what is my base assumption today? My base assumption is that you know the fi'l charts by heart. Okay? You know the fi'l charts by heart. So the past tense and the present tense. You know them even without, you know them with any other fi'l given to you. Okay, not just nasara. If I give you kafara, you will produce a kafara chart. If I give you yakfuru, you will produce the yakfuru chart, all by heart. Okay, that's my base assumption. It's assumption के base पे inshallah we'll go forward. Last class में हमने काफी practice की थी, and I hope that you managed to firm it up inshallah before this class. My assumption is also that you have done your exercises up to the point we studied. Well, I think was it page 40, 44, 40, 43, I believe. That was the page. So you've done your exercises. And because this is my assumption, because that gives me assurance that you have the knowledge that I want to be in you by this time. Okay? If you have not done your exercises, I'm sure you're still good. Okay? I'm sure you're still good. You'll still be able to cope up with what we are doing. No problem at all. But your objective should be, you should not mark this course concluded for yourself unless you have done every single thing in it. Okay? That's my strong recommendation to you. Don't mark it completed for yourself. You are doing the language of the Quran. You do it in Ramadan, it's an ibadah. It's an ibadah with the reward much bigger than in normal days. So do it as an ibadah, inshallah. Okay? So these are few fundamental assumptions that I have. Okay. Now, these are the two charts that we have done. The Nasara chart, which is the past tense chart, and the Yansuru chart, which is the present tense chart. Okay. So you should know all of these, inshallah, by heart now. So based on this assumption, I'm going to go forward and start the topics that I want to teach you. Okay. So of course, these topics are falling within the branch of fi'l study. So what you have done, all of these both charts that you have done, uh, these both charts are normal fails. These fails are normal fails. Okay, this is a normal form of fail. Let me just say like that, right? The normal form of fail in Arabic is called marfu. Okay? If you remember in ism world, we said an ism when it's in rafa status, it's marfu. It's written, I believe, on the first or second page of your notes. Okay. So the ism when it is in rafa status, it's called marfu. But in the fail study, there is no rafa nasab jar. There is no status of the fail, right? So when the fail is in a standard form, the normal form, as in the charts that you have done, those af'als are called marfu. They are in normal state. When I'm saying this fail is marfu, it's in a normal state. Okay? But there are two other states of this fail. These are not statuses, they're just different forms of these fails, right? So they can show up differently. You can see this like that. Okay? So there is a form of a fail that is called a light form. You also made an ism light, if you remember. You made an ism light by removing the tanween and the noon sound, right? But you can also make a fail light. Okay? So when you make a fail light, this form is called mansub form. Okay? The fail is mansub. In the world of ism was mansub when it was in nasab status. That is different mansub. So the terminology of marfu and mansub exist in ism world, but they also exist in the fail world, but the definition is different. Okay. So do not confuse a marfu fail or a mansub fail with the status of fail. It's not status of fail, it's just different form of fail, a different way it shows up. Okay. And there is a lightest form of fail. This particular one, when you make a fail lightest, it is called majzoom form of fail. Okay. This is majzoom form of fail. So in the class today, my base assumption is that you know the marfu fails, you know the normal forms of fail. So yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna, all the way to anan, nahnu nansuru, and of course in the past tense as well. Okay? Primarily, these terms, marfu, mansub, and majzoom, are applied to present tense. Okay? They're generally not applied to past tense because past tense do not change the form. The present tense basically changed the form. So they are more relevant for present tense. You will not find these terms used with past tense too much. Okay? So the change that happens is in the present tense world. So our focus to study these two forms, the light and the lightest, is purely present tense. So the concept of light and lightest form of fi'l does not apply to the past tense. It only applies to the present tense. That's what we are going to do. And the rules are very simple. It's a very, very simple topic, but it's a very powerful topic in the Quran. What I will do is I'll pick up this chart and will transform this chart, which is a marfu chart, into a mansub chart first. Okay. So what I'm going to do is transform this into mansub, okay, which is the light form. Okay. So to transform this in mansub, there are simple tricks. Okay, and if you know this chart, you should be able to do it very simply. So when you see a dhamma, all the af'als like yansuru, tansuru, ansuru, nansuru, these five, they all end with a dhamma or a pesh, right? So when you see a dhamma, you change that dhamma into a fatha everywhere. Huwa yansuru becomes huwa yansura. Hiya tansuru becomes hiya tansura. Then anta tansura, ana ansura, and nahnu nansura. So what you have done is made this fail mansub. Okay? You've made it light because you've taken the heavy sound of dhamma away and you've given it a lighter fatha sound. Okay? So huwa yansura. Nothing changes otherwise. Yansura still has huwa in it. Tansura still has hiya in it, and so on. Everything that we have done, the concept of inside doer, outside doer, everything that we did is the same. Okay? Only that it changes the form. And why it changes the form, you will see inshallah soon. Okay? Is that much clear, everybody? How we make the fi'l mansub? Easy so far?
Yeah, so far.
Very good. Inshallah, it will remain easy. So, do you remember how did we make an ism light when it had a noon? What did Muslimani, Muslimaini become in light form?
We took the noon away.
We took the noon away. You do the same here. Okay? So you remove the noon sound where there is noon. So Huma Yansura is Yansurani becomes Huma Yansura. Hum Yansuruna becomes Hum Yansuru. In Arabic, when you have a fail ending with a waw, from the spelling perspective, it's a norm to put an alif. Okay, it's a norm to put an alif. Okay, and then you have here we have done Huma Tansurani becomes Huma Tansura. Tansuruna Yansurna becomes sorry, Hunna Yansurna does not change. The feminine forms, the Hunna and Antunna, they would not change. In the marfu form, in the mansub form, or in the majzoom form, Hunna and Antunna stays the same. Nothing changes there. Okay. So when you're looking at a fi'l, the context is going to tell you if it is mansub or if it is majzoom or if it is marfu. Okay. So antuma tansurani becomes antuma tansura. Antum tansuruna becomes antum tansuru with an alif for the spelling. Anti tansurina becomes anti tansuri. Antuma tansurani becomes antuma tansura. And antunna tansurna remains the same. Okay. So far, so good. Not difficult. If you know these af'als by heart, you can do it. You don't have to memorize anything in this chart, right? Because there's a simple, plain process of making it mansub. Okay. Now, how to make the fi'l majzoom? And we will understand why they become mansub and why they become majzoom in the later half of this class. But first, we need to understand how to make them mansub and majzoom. Mansub and majzoom, yeah. So what we do in the majzoom case is the same process. Let me pick up the same chart. I think it will be easier for you. So I will do this for the majzoom form. So this is going to be majzoom form. Majzoom form. And it is the lightest form. Okay. So when you want to make the fi'l lightest, the majzoom, what you give, the word majzoom comes from jazm. What is jazm? Sukun, right? The sukun, the small circle that you put. So instead of changing yansuru, it was yansuru, right? Instead of changing to fatha, you change it to sukun. Wa yansur, that is majzoom form. Hiya tansur, majzoom. Anta tansur, majzoom. Ana ansur, majzoom. And nahnu nansur, majzoom. In the mansub form, you gave them the fatha. In the majzoom form, you will give them the jazm. Okay, wherever there is dhamma, the pesh, you will replace the pesh with the jazm. That's the lightest form of present tense fi'l. And nothing changes with the noon. The same applies to the noon. You just remove the noon everywhere else. Okay. Now, if the fail is mansoob or majzoom, how will I differentiate? The context is going to tell you. Okay. So easy so far. Majzoom and mansoob concept.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Good. Now, why do these af'als become mansoob and majzoom? And there are few reasons why they become mansoob and majzoom. Let's discuss the lightest mansoob one first. So there are few harfs, just like harf of jar and harf of nasab that we did. They made the ism jar or nasab. There are af'als that actually make the fi'l mansoob or majzoom. And there are few of them, and not too difficult. Okay, so I will give them that list. I will give you that list, inshallah. So let's start with the light forms, light harfs. There are a few light harfs that actually make the fi'l mansoob. Insert a table for you. Okay. So the first one is an. You may have seen this a lot in the Quran. An. Okay. This is not anna. Anna was harf of nasab. This is an. So anna versus an is this how anna is? This is not anna. This is an. Okay. And the one I'm highlighting is harf of nasab. This applies to isms. It doesn't apply to fi'ils. Okay. The one I'm talking about for mansoob is the an one. Okay. So an is one of the fi'ils that means to. Okay. Now this to is a connector to. To is a connector to. For example, I want to read. This to is the one that we're talking about. Okay. It's not the directional to. Okay. It's just a connector to. It's used a lot in the Quran. An. So whenever an comes before a present tense fi'il, it makes it mansoob. So you will find af'als in a mansoob form when there is an an before it. And for that matter, every harf that we are doing here, whenever you see those hurufs and there are af'als after them, they will always be mansoob. Usually, they will not have a long distance relationship. When they come, usually the fi'il will show right after. But their impact can be translated into of other fi'ils that are coming in the future. Just like there was a connector waw between harf of jars. For example, fis samawati wal ardi. So you have fi and then you have samawati, which are directly close. But then there's a waw in the middle that takes the impact of fi to al ardi. Okay, just like that. This can also happen here. And we'll see a few examples. Okay. Um, Lan. Lan means will not. When you want to negate the fi'l, will not, uh, then lan is used. Okay. An, lan. These are two of our harfs that make the fi'l light. An, lan, and then likai. An, lan, likai. This is a fatha on kaf. Anlan likai. Now, likai can show up as likai. It can also show up as kai. It can also show up as li. Okay, it's the same. If it shows up in any of these forms, it is going to be same. So this one is also going to make the fail mansoob, the light, and this word means so that. So that. Now, while we are doing this, let me give you a perspective. You have done the harf lam before. Okay, you have done it before. The first one you did was li, uh, harf of jar, harf of jar was it? Yes, harf of jar. That was the first harf lam that you did. Okay. We also touched upon the emphasis lam. Innal insana lafi khusran. When you say lafi. Now you know fi is a harf. It's a harf of jar, right? And we said khusran. This khusran and fi were jar majroor, right? So what is this lam? This lam is an emphasis lam, usually translated to truly or surely. If it was a harf of jar lam, then it had to come right on the ism because harf of jar lam does not tolerate long distance relationship. Okay. Instead of fi, there should have been a ism in jar status because it's not. Therefore, it's a emphasis lam. So it's not just in loss; it's truly in loss or surely in loss. There's an emphasis here. Okay. This is the second lam that you have studied. The third lam is this lam that we just did. Li. Now this means so that, and this applies to present tense, makes them mansub. Okay? So do not confuse these lams. Okay, so you have many types of lams, and when they show up in the Quran, you have to analyze what is that lam. Okay, so the second lam that we have done, this particular one that I'm highlighting, this one. Now, this emphasis lam can come on anything. It can come on a fi'l, it can come on a harf, it can come on an ism. It can come on anything, but it does not impact that thing. Okay? If it comes on ism, it will not impact the status of an ism. If it comes on the fi'l, if it will not change it from marfu to mansub or majzoom. It's not going to do anything. If it comes on a harf, it cannot do anything anyway. It's just an emphasis lam. When it comes on any type of word, you are actually translating it as truly or surely. Okay? Is that much clear? Good? Okay. Now you have two more hurufs. You must have seen this one as well, izan, which is sometimes also written like that. It's written like this, izan. Both are same, and this one means in that case. Okay? An lan likay izan. An lan likay izan, and then last one is you are pretty familiar with, which is hatta. Hatta. Yeah. Hatta means until. There is another hatta we have done. Where have we done that? Anyone remembers it? There's another hatta we did. Where was it? Where was it?
Harf
إن
of jar.
النبي إن
Harf
ليت
of
لك
jar. Correct. Harf of jar. Very good. So there are two hattas now. So there is hatta that is harf of jar. If it is a harf of jar hatta, it will come on an ism right before it, making it jar. If it is coming before the fail, then it's a harf that makes the fail mansub. Okay. So an
Like,
lan likai is an hatta. Ji, Shariar.
sorry for interrupt. Fatma continuously messaging. I want to
Okay.
join.
So, I mean, how can we help?
We
So,
provide ID and link also, but can't work. I asked her that your internet issue maybe.
so
She said
if
there
ask.
isn't internet.
So, I mean, you guys are here, so I don't know if there's a problem. So, did she try to restart her machine or something, or maybe try the link on the WhatsApp description?
Yes, I told her that put your phone in the airplane mode and then again.
Yeah, just restart it or do something about, because if you are here, things are working, right?
जी.
So, so I don't know what else can I do. You can just reshare the link again, right, which is in the description. Okay. I hope she's able to make it. Of course, I want her to be here. So, Fatma, if you are watching this recording, we miss you, and I hope you are able to make in the class. Absolutely. So the link should be working. Everyone is here almost. So try to restart your machine, and inshallah, take it from there. Why am I saying try to restart the machine in recording? Anyway, now I've said it. Okay. So an lan likai is an hatta. Please, 5 times, 15 seconds. An lan likai is an hatta. An lan likai is an hatta. An lan likai is an hatta. These are the hurufs that you need to have be on your fingertips if you really want to decode them, inshallah, when they show up. An lan likai is an hatta. All of them will make the fi'l light, mansub. Okay? And that's one of the reasons why af'als are becoming mansub, because they are impacted by these hurufs. Okay. I'll give you 15 seconds or 30 seconds just to firm them up a little bit in your mind. 30. Okay, okay, okay. So just like always, is there a volunteer who wants to try saying them out? I just need 2 volunteers. Any volunteer? No volunteer? Rosa
Yeah,
Began?
I'll go, Father.
Okay, Bilal bhai.
An lan likai izan hatta.
Perfect. Mashallah. Mashallah. Anyone else wants to say them out once?
And len likai isn't hatta.
Perfect. Zabardast. So once you know these hurufs, when they show up, you will automatically detect that they are making the af'als light, mansub. Okay? And there's, of course, a lot of deeper grammar about them. Why this happens, that you will, inshallah, study if you continue this journey in advanced Arabic. So
Inshallah.
that's the mansub story. Okay, so the fi'l made light, and one of the reason it's made light is when the harf is applied on it. Okay, and these hurufs are everywhere in the Quran. Okay, now there's a set of hurufs for madzum. Okay, so there's a set of hurufs for madzum as well, and we need to see them. But before we go there, I want to take you to some examples in your book. So this is the present tense light page on the page 44. What we have done. So the hunna and antunna versions do not change. If the present tense ends with a dhamma, then you change it to fatha. Okay. If the present tense ends in noon, you remove the noon. This is the process we learned. That gives you this light present tense chart or fi'l mudari mansub, if you want to sound more Islamic and Arabic. So it's a light present tense chart with all of the stuff that we have done. You see the yansurna and tansurna does not change. Everywhere the noon is removed, and where there was a waw, alif was put, and where there was dhamma, it is changed to the fatha. Okay. If you go along next page, these hurufs in Arabic are called huruf nasibatul mudari. Okay, that effectively means harf that are the harfs of lightness of fail of present tense fails. Okay, an lan likai isan hatta. Okay, likai can come in li kai and likai. Okay, if you take some examples in the Quran, so you will notice this is an yadriba. Okay, this an yadriba. It does not have a dhamma. The original form was yadribu, but it is made yadriba because of the an before it. Okay. Okay. an tas an tasbahu. Now, when you look at tasbahu, your thinking might immediately go, "Hey, past tense," because you know nasaru. Usually, students do that mistake. But don't forget, you have to look at the beginning. Okay, it starts with a ta and then ends with a u. Although you don't have the present tense chart with a ta and u ending, you have ta and una ending, but now you know there is a mansub form and a majzoom form that ends with u, just like the past tense. Now you're looking at the beginning as well. Okay, so you see tazbahu and you will see that there is an an before it, making it light. This is mansub. Okay. Lan nushrika. Now this is lan. We said an lan, it was second form, will not. And nushrika. Nushrika is a present tense fail. Which pronoun is it? What do you think? Nushrika. Which one? Waiting, waiting. Okay, so if I give you, it is huwa yushrika. What is this form of fail? Which pronoun is inside it? Inside door. Huwa is yushrika.
Yes.
So which one is this one?
Go inside.
This is nahnu. This is
Nahnu.
yushrika, tushrika, tushrika, ushrika, nushrika. Okay. This is nushrika. This is nahnu. Sometimes students get confused with this kaf. They see it as a attached pronoun. This is not. Okay, so in this particular case, this kaf is part of this word. The root letters of this fail are sheen, ra, and kaf. Okay? It is about sharik. Mushrik hota na, to make someone associated. If you look at the translation, associate, to associate somebody. So lan meant will not. So it means we will not associate, which is this. Okay? Will not associate. Okay? Kai nusabbihaka. Kai nusabbihaka. Now, in this case, you see the fa'il was nusabbihu. Now, this is the attached pronoun. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the attached pronoun. Okay, this was nusabbihu. Yusabbihu, tusabbihu, tusabbihu, usabbihu, nusabbihu. Okay, so the kai was applied on it, so that we may praise or glorify or exalt. Many types of translations are used for sabbaha. Nusabbihu. The nusabbihu became nusabbiha. Okay. This is Now, this is usually a little bit tricky for students because as soon as you see the una ending and ya beginning, students tend to apply it to yansuruna. Okay, this is a complex fail. You have not studied it. It's called kana yakunu. This is a different fail. This is a hua version of that fail. The hum version of this fail is yakununa. This fail has the noon as part of its root letters. Okay, so it was yakunu, which was made light by applying this lam. Now, how do I know this lam is not an emphasis lam? The way I know this is by looking at the fail. Because if it was an emphasis lam, it would have been li yakunu. Because it's
Mm,
yakuna, it is the light harf. Clear?
yes,
Good. This is a hatta example. Hatta yaqulu. Yeah, hatta yaqulu became hatta yaqula.
the
Okay?
Rasul.
Okay? Because there is a hatta here, and now this hatta is not harf of jar because there is no ism after it. There is a fa'il after it. Okay? And some same like this. Hatta yu'minu became hatta yu'minna. Okay? So you see the application is in many places in the Quran, and knowing these hurufs is important for you. So the study of present tense is a very comprehensive study, and inshallah, once you know these fails, things will become easier for you to detect them. And they are not difficult. It's not difficult to detect. With some practice, and I think few times you will see them in the Quran, you will understand that. The most important thing is that you have these af'als in your mind. You know them by heart. Okay, you know them. These are the af'als that makes the fail mansub, because that's the context you need to know. Okay, right. Let's move on. Now we will do the lightest. After this, inshallah, we'll take a break. A lightest harfs. Just like that, you have the list of lightest harfs. It's very few, just I think four of them. You might also recognize them when I write them. Okay, so the first one is in. The previous one, the light was un. Now this is in. There's a difference. It's not un. Un is like this, right? Un is like this. In un, you have done inna. I'm just writing here just so you can bring everything together. You have done inna, you have done anna, all of that. Don't confuse. These are different hurufs. Inna, anna, harf of nasabs. Apply on isms only, right? Out. An is a light harf. Applies on fails to make them mansub, light. In is the lightest harf. Applies on fails to make it madzum. Madzum, lightest form of harf. It means if. It is used to build conditional statements. If you do this, then this will happen. So those types of conditional statements are built using this type of harf. It is also used with past tense, but it cannot impact the past tense. These afals these hurufs you might see coming on past tense too, but they will not create any change on past tense. Past tense can change. Okay? But when they will come on the present tense, you will see them changing into mansub or mansum. Okay, so I'll write it here. Can come, this one can come with past and present. Okay, but it won't change anything on the past tense, but certainly it will make the present tense mansub. Okay, okay. In lam, lam means did not. Did not. Now this one is only and only used with present tense, and it is used to push the meaning of the present tense in the past. It's like the opposite of iza. You remember iza was used with past tense to push its meaning to present or future. Just like that, you have lam, which means did not, used to push the meaning in the past. So if you have yansuru, that means he helped. He helps, right? Now, if you did like this, if you did lam, oh my God, I'll write again. So if you did lam yansuru, lam yansuru wouldn't work. You will have to make yansuru majzoom. So you would say lam yansur. Now you know yansuru means he helped. He helps. And lam means did not. So this lam yansur would translate to he did not help. Everyone with me on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is used to push the meaning of a present tense to the past. Okay. In lamma, in lamma is it means not yet. Not yet when it is used with present tense. And it means when it is used with past tense. Okay. If it is used with present tense, it will make it majzoom. When it is used with past tense, it's not going to change anything. It just means when. Okay. The change is only occurring on the present tense. Okay. In lamma, there is another lam. Fourth lam this time. Li. Now this is also a lightest lam. Okay. So this will make the fail lightest. Now you have the fourth lam. So this means should. Only comes on the present tense, makes it lightest. My recommendation is sometimes this lam comes after connectors. Connectors like waw and fa. Okay. So sometimes you will see it like this. Wal or fal. Okay. So it's best if you remember it as wal falli. Okay. So if you remember it as wal falli, then it would be easier for you to remember it that this is the harf. Okay. Sometimes students can get confused when it is not written as li, it is written as wal or fal. Okay. So in lamma wal fal li. That's what I would remember. Okay. In lamma wal fal li. These are your hurufs which are making a fi'l majzoom. Any questions? Clear so far?
Yes.
Good. Let's go to your notes. In your notes, the process of majzoom is given here, just like we did. Okay, nothing changed there. It's just putting sukoon instead of a dhamma and removing the noon. Same thing, the same chart. Then you have these hurufs. They are called harf jazimatul mudari. Jazimatul mudari. The hurufs that make the fail, the present tense fail, majzoom. They put jazam on it. Okay. So mudare is the present tense fail. Okay. In lamma li. So I would recommend you remember it as wal, fal, and li. Okay. So here it is mentioned. Lamma is used when it is used with present tense. It means past, not yet. When used with past tense, it means when. Okay. Lam only used with present tense pushes the meaning to the past. In can be used with past and present. No problem there. Okay. Examples from the Quran. Now, in tazarhum. Now, this tazar was tazaru, and it is made lightest because of in. Okay. In tazarhum. And if you see here is that the translation tells you if you leave them, there's a condition. There's a condition here. Now, there's a point I should tell you here. So when there's a conditional statement like this, there is always a then part. If you did that, then this will happen. If you ate, then you will feel happy. The then part, the effect part. So when conditional statements are made like this, those are made by making a fi'l lightest. Okay, just like this with in, for example. Okay, the then part is also made lightest. So if you see this harf coming in like this, and then there's another fi'l after it. Now this is yudillu. Now this ya is the beginning of a present tense. In the past tense, you don't have yudillu. Okay? So this was yudilluna, and you know the noon is removed, and it became yudillu. Why is this lightest? It is lightest because this represents the then part. So when you find a lightest fail after the conditional statement, that is a then part of that fail. Okay. So that's how if then is constructed in Arabic. It's called this is called shart and jawabul shart. So this is the shart condition, and this is jawabul shart, meaning the answer to the condition. Okay. So it's reflected here, then highlighted red. It's lightest because of this condition. So in was there. It made it made the tazar lightest, and then yudillu is basically the then part. Okay. So the impact of in is, you can see it in that way. That impact of in is moving on to the yudillu. Lam tajidu. It was tajiduna, and you made it lightest. Now, the light version would also look like tajidu. How would you know this tajidu is light or lightest? You would only know once you know these hurufs by heart. You know, in lam lamma wal falli, you know, an lan likay is an hatha by heart. Okay? You know, and you will find this lam, and you will see, hey, I know this is the fail that makes things majzoom. So this tajidu is not light, it's not mansoob, it's majzoom. Okay. Lamma yazuqu. Shariar, there's some background noise coming from your side. Can you go on mute, please? Thank you. So lamma yazuqu. Okay, so this was yazuquna, and because of lamma, it was made lightest. Okay, so lamma, when used with present tense, translates to not yet. Yazuqu is to taste. It's yazuquna, they will taste, or they taste. So they have not yet tasted. They've pushed the meaning of a present tense in the past. Okay, because lamma means not yet. So sorry, not the present tense meaning in the past, it means just not yet. So when you translate it with not yet, you have to make sense in English. That's why it's tasted. Okay? They have not yet tasted. The past was this one. You did not find with the lam. Okay? Here is an example of the lam. Now you see this is coming as fal, and here it is coming as wal. Okay. So the fi'l is yastajibuna. Yastajibuna, made light by removing noon. Why was it made light? Because there is a lam here. Okay, because of this fal. the harf is the lam, but I ask you to remember it as wal fal li because of these reasons. Okay. So fal yastajibu, you know it is the lightest, the majzum form. And wal yu'minu, you know this is lightest because of the wal. Okay. And it meant should. So it is translated to they should not respond, the first one. This is a fa'il that is coming from the word jaba. Jaba is to give answer. So he answered. Jaba yajibu. Okay. Uh, Yastajibu is another form of that same fa'il, meaning to answer, to respond. And wal yu'minu, they should believe. The should is coming from this harf. Okay? Is it clear so far? Yeah, it's not difficult. It's just a matter of practice little bit, inshallah. Once you know these hurufs, they're pretty easy to spot in the Quran. And we'll do an exercise at the end of this course, inshallah. Okay, so I will give you a break. How much break do you want? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes?
10 minutes, that's it.
Okay, let's meet inshallah at 20 past, inshallah. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Jazakallah.
Um,
Assalamu alaikum again. Everyone's back. Thumbs up if you're back.
जी वालेकुम सलाम.
Gee, thank you. Welcome, Fatima. Are you in? Very good to have you. Can you hear me and see me, Fatima? Okay. Waiting for the response. Okay, so I hope you can hear me and see me, Fatima. Um, okay. So very quickly, so just for the benefit of Fatima, I will just very, very quickly go back and in 5 minutes revise everything that we have done. So Fatima can also cope up with the next phase. Um, so what we were saying, that we have the present tense form of fi'l. The normal form of a present tense is called the marfu form. The light form is called the mansub form, which we have to study, and the lightest form is the madzum form. These are the two forms of present tense fi'l that we have to study, and we have studied both of them so far. So the fi'l that is made light by removing the dhamma in the end of whichever fi'l that ends with a dhamma, we remove the dhamma and we replace it with a fatha. Huwa yansuru becomes yansura. Hiya tansuru becomes tansura, and so on. So this applies to huwa, hiya, anta, ana, and nahnu. Where there is a noon, we remove the noon. Huma yansurani became huma yansura. Hum yansuruna became hum yansuru. And for spelling, we just put an alif in case of hum, and everywhere else. So when we are making a fail, mansub, light. Okay. Hunna and antunna do not change. That's what we said. Okay. They don't change in the light form or in the normal form or even in the lightest form. So the way to make these fails light is this process, and to make them lightest is to give them the jazm in the end. So instead of giving them fatha, you give them the sukun in the end. Huwa yansuru becomes huwa yansur. Then hiya tansur, anta tansur, and ana ansur, nahnu nansur. Everything else is the same. Just by removing the noon, you have made them light, and hunna and antunna do not change. Okay, so context tells us what is light and lightest. So these are two forms of fi'ls called mansub and majzoom in the present tense. Then we did the light harfs. We said these light harfs are an, lan, likay, izan, hatta. Likay can come as kai, it can also come as li. Izan is written like this, and izan is also written like this. So when you see these hurufs, they will come on a present tense and they will make it light. Okay. We also said that don't confuse the lam with the other lams that you know. So there is a lam of harf of jar that only comes on isms. There is a lam of emphasis that can come on anything. Harf, ism, fa'il. And there is a lam which is so that this one that we have done today. That only comes on present tense fails, making them mansub. The lightest harfs, there are four lightest harfs we have done in lam, lamma, wal, fal, and li. So this is basically li, and it can come with the connectors, and it sounds like wal and fal. So better to remember like this. In lam, lamma, wal, fal, li, when these hurufs come on a present tense, they can make it lightest, meaning giving them the jazm in the end, and look a little different from a standard present tense fi'l chart. Okay, that's what we have done so far. We also said that in is used for conditional statements, and it can be applied on past tense and present tense, but it does not change anything on past tense. It only makes the present tense lightest. Lam pushes the meaning of present tense in the past, just like Iza pushes the meaning of past tense in the future. Okay. Lamma means not yet when applied to present tense, means when when it applies to past tense. Okay, and li means should. Okay, that's what we have done so far. Okay, very quick summary for those who joined now. Inshallah, I know it's not enough. You may have to go back and watch the video, but inshallah, it will help you. So what I teach now is dependent on these concepts. So if you struggle to just cope up with the class, don't worry. That's just because you've not taken the first part of the class. Okay. Once you take that first part of the class more comprehensively, you will, inshallah, get it. Okay. So now this is the last topic in this course that I'm going to teach you now. Okay. So the topic is commanding and forbidding. Very important topic in the Quran. The way Allah commands and forbids things, we need to understand how this works. Okay, the commanding and forbidding part. So there are few common sense observations. So first of all, you cannot command or forbid in the past. Okay, so when you command somebody or forbid somebody or stop somebody from doing something, forbids him, you cannot do that in the past. You just do that always in the present. So that means the concept of commanding and forbidding will always be used with a present tense fi'l because it is in the present, always. Okay? You cannot, in your sane mind, you cannot command yourself. Okay? Even forbid yourself. Okay? You don't command yourself. Okay? That's another common sense observation that we should keep in mind. Okay? You do not command or forbid someone who is not there. Who's not there. So somebody is not here, I cannot command them and I can't forbid them. Okay, so that has to be here. Meaning, the concept of commanding and forbidding is restricted to the second person. Second person pronouns. Who can tell me the second person pronouns? 6 second person pronouns. Anyone? 6 second person pronouns. Waiting. Nobody knows in the last class of this course? Second person pronouns?
Second person pronouns anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antun.
Perfect, mashallah. So that's the second person pronoun. Only these 6 pronouns are used for commanding and forbidding. Okay? Because you cannot command somebody who's not there, and second person is with you. It's there. Okay? So you don't use the third person. Okay? So anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna. All of them are used for second person. It means because these 6 pronouns are used, only these 6 forms of fi'l, present tense fi'l, will be used. Tansuru, tansurani, tansuruna, tansurina, tansurani, tansurna. These 6. The commanding and forbidding will apply to these 6 forms of fi'ls, okay, in the present tense. Sometimes command is not a command. Sometimes command is not a command. For example, if I say eat, if I come to Fatima and say, Fatima, eat, is it a command? Yes, no. Command or not? I'm saying, eat now, eat.
I think it's a command.
It is a command, right? Okay? It is a command. But sometimes I say eat so you feel better.
Yeah.
Eat so you feel better. It's a recommendation, right?
Yeah.
It's a recommendation. If I say, uh, give me, like this, give me, it's a command, right? If I say, give me, and I'm saying this to Allah, is it a command?
No.
No, it's not a command. It is a request. Okay? It is a request. So sometimes the same structure of the command is used in the Quran, and it is not always a command. Sometimes it's Allah recommending something. Sometimes He's telling how to ask me for dua. And when He teaches you how to make dua, then He teaches you how to ask me. In that form of structure, you will always also use commanding format, but you don't command in that case. You actually request. Okay? So command is not always a command. That's what I mean by that. Sometimes it can mean something different. So, and with experience only, you will get hold of that. Grammatically, they would look same. And the context of the Quran, the way you decode it, the way you see the other words operating, the ayah before and the after, what is it, what is being talked about, what's the situation, that will actually tell you if this is really truly a command or not. And that is why it's supremely important to understand the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ to really truly understand the Quran. Because the walking, talking Quran is Prophet ﷺ, and the Quran is revealed in the situations and environments of his life. Everything revealed has some situation around him, right? There's a certain environment. And according to that, those things are revealed. So once you understand that environment, you are better understanding the Quran. So Sirah and Quran goes hand in hand together. Okay, the more you invest time in that, the better you will understand the Quran. So, but these common sense observations, they're pretty simple, straightforward. Inshallah, when I teach you, it will all become more clear. Now, we are going to start with the forbidding side of the story. Forbidding. Okay. Now, forbidding, if I stop you from doing something, if I forbid you from doing something, don't don't eat or don't help. All of that is forbidding. Okay? So when Allah wants to tell you that don't do something, okay, that is forbidding, making something not permissible, forbid something. Okay? Now, when you want to do this, you want to keep in mind that it applies to second person. Okay? You can't forbid somebody who's not there. You don't forbid yourselves. The first person and third person is out. Okay? So you will forbid only the second person. So let's say our favorite fi'l, which is yansuru. That's what I have. Okay? Yansuru. Okay? Now, yansuru is a huwa form, meaning he helps. Okay? Now, I want to say this. Don't help. That's what I want to say. Don't help. Okay? Now, first thing I have to keep in mind that the forbidding happens in second person. So I know yansuru is huwa form. I have to take it into the second person of the same form, of the same counterpart. What is the second person counterpart of yansuru? Anyone?
Tansuru.
Ansuru. The step number one. Step number one. Take the fi'l to the second person, which is tansuru. So what you have done here, you have done uh, basically you have changed he helps to you help. Okay? That's the step number one. Okay? Now, step two, make the fi'l lightest. How do I make the fi'l lightest? Tansuru.
We use the jazm. Tansur.
Tansur. Very good. Tansur. Make the fi'l lightest. Okay. Once you have made the fi'l lightest, the third step is step three. Put la before it. Put Allah before it. This would become la tansur. And this means don't help. Don't help. You understand the process? You're given the fi'l, and this is in whichever person. This was third person, yansuru. Okay? You took that fi'l, you brought it into the second person, the counterpart. Okay? In the second person, you made it a lightest by putting a jazm. You made it majzoom. Okay? The process we just learned. Okay? And from that, you actually put the la before it. Okay? So this becomes la tansur. Okay? And means don't help. This is a forbidding statement. And that's how the forbidding statements is constructed in Arabic language. And of course, used quite widely in the Quran. Any questions? Anything not clear in this process? Okay. So um, let's do another fi'l. The fi'l is yazhabu. Yazhabu. Yazhabu means he came. Okay. I want to say don't come. That's what I want to do. Okay. Yazhabu is he came, and I want to say don't come. What is the step number one? And now I need your interaction. Step number one. What should I do with this fi'l?
We take it to the second person.
Take it to the second person, and that would become
Tazhabu.
tashabu. Very good. Tashabu. Step number two.
We make it lightest.
Make it lightest. That's tashabu.
Tazhab.
Tashab. Step number three.
We put a la before it.
Put a la before it. Tashab. La tashab. Don't come. Okay? That's the process. Forbidding statement. Yunfiqu. Yunfiqu. He spends. Okay? Yes, he spends. Yunfiqu. Okay? Now, I want to say don't spend. How should I say it? I want to say don't spend, but I want to say that to you all. Okay, so let's say I want to say this. You all don't spend. You all spend. You all. That's what I want to say. Okay. Now the fi'l I have given you is the he, is the is the huwa form of this fi'l, and you all is a different form. Okay. So you all is not anta. Which pronoun is you all?
It's you all. The first person? No, sorry. Third person.
You is still the second person, right?
Hmm.
You is the second person. Okay.
You all.
Like anta was you, right? So it's just the plural form of anta. What is it? Let's say masculine.
Antum.
Antum. Antum. We're talking about masculine right now. Okay. So antum, I want to forbid all of you from spending. Okay. Don't spend all of you. Okay. So first step is I have to take this fi'l in the second person. Yanfiqu becomes tanfiqu. Let's go step by step. Tanfiqu. That's the second person. It means you spend. Tanfiqu becomes what in antum form?
تنفقون.
Tanfiquna. Tanfiquna. Oh my God, my French. Tanfiquna. 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 Now, tanfiquna is the antum form of this fi'l. You all spend. That's what it means. Right? So I have successfully transformed the fi'l I was given into the second person with the right pronoun. Okay? Now I want to make it forbidding. Okay, step number one done. Step two was make it lightest. So how should I make tanfiquna lightest?
Remove the na.
Remove the na. So it will become tanfiqu, isn't it? Tanfiqu, right? Now this is the lightest form. And then step three, put a la before it. La tanfiqu. La tanfiqu illa man. I don't know what's the ayah in the munafiqun. Sharia, you must remember that, right? La tanfiqu. هم الذين يقولون لا تنفقوا إلى من عند
على من
رسول
عند
على
رسول
من عند
الله.
رسول الله حتى ينفقوا. Do not spend. Do not spend. Okay. So that's the forbidding statement. Don't spend. You all. Now, if you pick up any word, if you just pick up yansuru, for example, you know the 6 second person forms of the yansuru chart. You know tansuru. Let's write them down here. You know tansuru. You know tansurani. We list them down like this. Tansurani. You know tansuruna. This one. Suruna. Then you have, what is the anti form? Tansurina. I'm hoping that you know all of this. Then you have Tansurani. Tansurani. Then you have Tansurna. Okay. These are the 6 forms. Anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna. Anta tansuru, antuma tansurani, antum tansuruna, anti tansurina, antuma tansurani, antunna tansurna. Okay. Now, if you just make them lightest, all of them, anta tansur, Antuma tansura. Antum tansuru. Anti tansuri. Antuma tansura. Antunna tansurna, because it doesn't change. Right? And you put Allah before each one of them. La and la, 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 and la, and la. La tansur, la tansura, la tansuru, la tansuri, la tansura, la tansurna. 6 forbidding statements of any fi'l. These are the 6 forbidding statements of any fi'l. If you can nail these down, you have nailed down the forbidding statement across all the fi'ls. Okay? La tansur, la tansura, la tansuru, la tansuri, la tansura, la tansurna. Okay? So if it is in your mind, you can immediately spot them. Okay? Every fi'l will be like this. La yakfur, la yakfur will be wrong, don't display. So it will be, for example, the last one that we have done, for example, tanfiqu. لا تنفق لا تنفقا لا تنفقوا لا تنفقي لا تنفقا لا تنفقنا. Any fi'l, you can produce 6 forbidding statements out of that fi'l by this, if you remember this. Okay? Sukun, a, u, I, a, na. That's the ending. Sukun, a, u, I, a, na. Sukun, a, u, I, a, na. La tansur, la tansura, la tansuru, la tansuri, la tansura, la tansurna. Okay, so any fi'l you will be able to construct for forbidding. Is that clear? Is it easy? Forbidding is not difficult. Should be easy. As far as you know, as far as you know the present tense fi'ls, you know your pronouns, and you know your process of making it lightest. Okay, this should be pretty straightforward. Okay. Now, I want to this, for example, if I say don't write, versus you don't write. What is the difference? The first statement and the second statement. Don't write versus you don't write. What do you think is the difference? Any thoughts?
First one is a command.
It's forbidding. Forbidding, because you're stopping somebody from doing something. Don't write. Okay. And this one, the second one, any thoughts? Is it also forbidding? You don't write?
I think it's kind of telling someone, yeah, you don't write, you don't do this, you don't do that.
Yeah, it's a statement, right?
Statement.
It's a statement, but both have don't write in it.
Yeah.
Right? In English language, you differentiate based on this exclamation mark and this full stop. Basically. In Arabic, you don't have punctuations. Right? So now this would be something like this. So if the fi'l for writing is yaktubu, yaktubu means he writes. He writes. The forbidding of yaktubu would be first going to taktubu, then making it lightest taktub, and then putting a la before it. La taktub. That means don't write. That means, come on, wait a second. don't write. That is a forbidding statement. La taktub, don't write. But look at the difference. If I say la taktubu, what is the difference? The first one is majzoom, the second one is marfu. Everyone sees that? The first one is majzoom, the second one is marfu. The first one is lightest, the second one is normal. La taktubu, you don't write. And that is the subtle difference, okay? So when you're giving a statement, not really forbidding somebody, you're not using the majzoom form. You're using the marfu form. And in the Quran, you have negations, statements like this a lot, and you should be able to differentiate if it is forbidding or if it is just a statement. And this subtle difference helps you in differentiating that, right? So the jazm versus the marfu. Okay, is that much clear? So if you find a fail in the second person with a la before it, always check if it is made light. If the made lightest. If it is made lightest, it's a forbidding statement. If it is not made lightest, then it's a statement. Okay. Let me take you to your notes. So the harf, the harfs that we did, the light and the lightest harfs, there is a full exercise here. All you have to do is identify which fi'il is light, which is lightest, which is normal. Just write N, L, or T in front of them to build your recognition skills in identifying them. Okay. So this is the exercise. Do complete that, inshallah. So what we have done just now is this part, the commanding and forbidding. So you can't forbid in the past tense. You cannot command yourself. You cannot command or forbid someone who is not there. It's easier to forbid than to command. That effectively means basically command can be more than just a command, right? Forbidding is just forbidding, but command can mean more than just a command. So that's what we also said, that it could be a suggestion, motivation, permission, many other things are possible with the command structure. Okay. So in forbidding, you have the formula la plus the lightest present tense in the second person. That's the formula. Okay. Examples we did. So don't go, or was it go? I translated the tazhabu as come. I think, is it? Did I translate it come? Yeah, it's not come, it's go then, guys. Just the meaning is different. So it's go. Okay. The second person, it's you go, make it lightest, and la tazhab, don't go. Okay. Right. And then you have just some examples here of different types of pronouns. So you see this one specifically, the fa'il is taktubna, which is basically to write. Yaktubu, yaktubani, yaktubuna, taktubu, taktubani, taktubna, and then taktubu, taktubani, taktubuna, taktubina, taktubani, antunna, taktubna. That's where it's coming from. Because antunna and hunna do not change, you put ya before them. So it's a normal fi'l is taktubna. The lightest fi'l is taktubna. And then you put the la before it. It remains taktubna. It's la taktubna. And the context tells you if it is forbidding or not. Okay. So this is the example we just did. You don't write books versus don't write books. Forbidding. Okay, so it could be a statement or observation, and it could be a forbidding if it is the lightest form used. Okay. Any questions? Is that clear? Okay, I take it as a yes. Right. Before we go on to our second break, I want to complete. Should I complete? No, I will not complete. I will just give you the break because the commanding topic. Let's start fresh after the break. So, how much break? Shall we keep it 5 minutes this time? Is that okay? 5 minutes. 5 minutes break. So let's meet. Okay, let's make it 8 minutes. Let me 11 UK time, or 5 past whatever Pakistan time. Okay, inshallah. Thank you, Jazakallah. All right. Please let me know when you're back. All right. I think we are back. So let's start, inshallah. Um, so just before we start, my correction to make in the meanings. When I was telling you yashabu, it was not came. I've written it in past tense as well. So it's he goes, and we wanted to build don't go. So la tashab would mean don't go. Please correct that with you. That was a meaning error that I made. So he mean yashabu mean he goes, and we build the forbidding don't go. Okay, it's not come. All right. So now this was the forbidding part. Okay, so in forbidding we have done a formula of a la plus lightest present tense in second person. That's what we have done. Okay, so that's the formula for forbidding. We have done the difference we have done the difference between forbidding versus observation or statement. Okay, the forbidding is lightest. The observation and the statement isn't lightest. It's normal. Okay. There's uh, there's another aspect I have to tell you very quickly. Sometimes you will see la used with the third person. La yansuru. Now yansuru means he helps, and la means not. Okay? La means not. Okay? Or no. No or not, whatever you want to call it. Okay? It does not make sense from forbidding standpoint. So you can't say he. You can't really build a forbidding statement out of it, right? You can't build a forbidding statement because you cannot forbid somebody who's not there, right? This is the third person. So if you see statements like this, then this is also this is also a statement, and it's more of a recommendation type of statement. It's like he should not help. They are usually translated like this: he should not help, or he does not help. You might see those things. Okay, so while we've done the forbidding. Nothing stops the la to be used with a normal third person. Okay, or even with the first person. Okay, so if that's the case, then you should focus it more from this standpoint, should not aspect. Okay, so it's more of a recommendation statement. It's not a forbidding statement because it doesn't make anything mazum. It just comes on the third person or the first person. Okay, so it's just like that. Okay. Now, that concludes our forbidding topic. Now it's commanding. Commanding is pretty simple to forbidding in from the get-go, from the very beginning phases. For example, if I take the word allama, allama means he teaches, and I have to make a command out of it. I will follow the same process that I've followed for forbidding until the time I've made it lightest. Okay, so allama is a past tense. It's a past tense. What I'm talking about, you allimu. Sorry, so you allimu, you allimu. That's the fail. You allimu. Okay, means he teaches. So you follow the same process up to the point where you basically transform it into the lightest form. Right, so we're doing commanding. So in commanding, we have taken a fi'il yu'allimu, and yu'allimu means he teaches, right? So we will follow the same process as the forbidding until we have made it the lightest. So the step number one for us would be to change this to the second person. So the counterpart of yu'allimu is tu'allimu. Tu'allimu. And stop me if you're not able to cope up with this, if there's anything confusing about this. So yu'allimu becomes tu'allimu. This is the anta form in the second person. And what you did in the commanding, in the forbidding, you made it the lightest. So you make it, this is tu'allimu. Not the tu'allimu. Okay? You make it the lightest like this. Tu'allimu. Tu'allim. So you had yu'allimu, you made it tu'allimu, and now you made it tu'allim. Now this is the point where you used to put the la before it in the forbidding. In commanding, you don't do that. What you do in commanding, you remove the ta. The beginning ta, you remove it. Instead, it becomes allim. Allim. Now, allim means teach. Teach. That's how a command is constructed. Okay? So you step number one, step one, change to second person. Step two, make it lightest. Step three, remove the ta. Okay? Remove the ta. Is that much clear? Easy so far? Okay, let's try with another fi'l, inshallah. Okay. So let's say I give you yujahidu. Yujahidu. Yujahidu means he struggles. Okay? And I want to say yujahidu. I want to say struggle. Okay? That's what I'm after. Struggle. Struggle in the path of Allah. Okay? That's what I want to say. The step number one, change it to the second person.
Yeah.
So what would it become?
Tujahidu.
Tujahidu. Tujahidu. Tujahid. Tujahidu. This is the anta form. Now make it the lightest.
Tujahid.
Tujahid. And now remove the ta.
Jahid.
Jahid. Jahid. That means struggle. That's a command. This is how construct the command. So if we construct the command with the same word, let's say instead, I want to say this struggle to plural masculine. I want to say to plural masculine. So what's the second person of yujahidu in the plural masculine? Tujahidu we know was the second person singular, anta. What I'm asking for is antum. Okay? I'm asking for antum. Second person plural.
تجاهدون.
Tujahiduna. Tujahiduna. That's the second person plural. Now I make tujahiduna lightest. Tujahidu. Yeah, removing the noon. Tujahidu. Now I remove the ta. What would it become? Jahidu. Jahid. Jahidu, like this. Jahidu. Jahidu means struggle, but now you're addressing plural, masculine. Okay? Addressing plural, masculine. Let's try to do the same with the singular, feminine. I'm basically talking about the anti version. Anti version. So if you have yujahidu, what's the anti version of yujahidu? Let's see. You see how important the pronouns are? Tujahidina. Tujahidina. Everyone with me? Tujahidina?
مجاهدين, yeah. Anti
Yeah.
version of
Anti version of yujahidu is tujahidina. Tujahidina becomes tujahidi in the lightest form because you remove the noon. It's madzum. Then you remove the tha, it becomes jahidina, jahidi. Jahidi means struggle. Now you're referring to a single feminine. Jahidi Fatima means struggle Fatima. Okay, I'm referring to Fatima. Okay? Just a singular feminine. So let's try one more time a plural feminine. Plural feminine, basically, I'm talking about antunna. Antunna form. So we're looking for antunna form of yujahidu. So we had yujahidu, then we have anta hunna yujahidna. That will become tujahidna. Okay? Tujahidna. Everyone with me on this? Tujahidna?
Mujahid is the Antunna form.
Yes, it's like tansurna. It's that form, right? Tansurna is antunna form, and yujahidna would be hunna form. Okay. Now, in the lightest case, hunna and antunna do not change, right? So you're gonna have uh, tujahidna, just like that. They don't change; they remain the same. And what you do as a third step is remove the tha. You have jahidna. Jahidna. Now you're talking about struggle, but you're talking to feminine plural. Okay, so any fi'il that you pick up, so the fi'il nasara, for example, yansuru, so the counterpart is tansuru, tansurani, tansuruna, tansuri, tansurani, tansurna. So if you produce the commands out of it, they would be uh, following the same step process. The first fi'il that we used, for example, the allama, the ta'allama, the command was allim. This is the huwa form. So if I pick up this fi'il again, so the fi'il was yu'allimu, yu'allimu, and the first command with yu'allimu we made it tu'allimu. Very quickly for you the process. Tu'allimu, as a second person anta, then we made it light, tu'allim, and then we went back and removed the ta. Allim. Okay? So if we are to make a command, let's say for antuma, masculine, so that would be, wait a second. That would be tu'allimani. Tu'allimani is antuma masculine. Okay? So the second step would be for you to make it lightest, tu'allima, and then go back and remove the ta. Allima. Okay. If you had tu'allimuna, tu'allimuna, as a first step, you make it lightest. Tu'allimu, you go back and you remove the ta. Allimu. Allim, allima, allimu. Okay. Then in the feminine case, you had tu'allimina. These are all the commands that you can produce with your mind only. Okay, once you have understood the process. Tu'allimina, you make it lightest, and then you go back and remove the ta. Allimi, it's the anthi form. And antuma form would be the same form as the masculine form, because the pronoun is the same. It's going to be allama. Allima. And antunna form would be tu'allimna. Tu'allimna, that's the antunna form. Hunna form is yu'allimna, and then becomes the tu'allimna, and it does not change. Right? In the second step, you make it lightest, but it does not change, and then basically you go back and you remove the ta. Okay, so these are the 6 commands for any fi'l. Okay, allim, allima, allimu, allimi, allima, allimna. Okay, jahid, jahida, jahidu, jahidi, jahida, jahidna. Okay, so all of these are 6 commands. Okay, so if you understand these 6 commands, the idea of endings, u, sukun, a, u, I, a, na, that is the command ending, basically. Okay, so if you can nail these 6 down, you can produce commands for almost every fi'l. Is that much clear? The process is clear? Okay, I take it as a yes.
Yeah, Fadi, this is clear. Yeah.
Very good. Now there are few complications. 2 complications I want to talk about. The first complication is, let's pick up your main fi'l. You have yansuru. Okay. Yansuru. Now, if I want to make the yansuru into a command, the first step I do is change it to the second person. I make it tansuru. Okay. The second step I do, I make it lightest. I make it tansur. Okay. And then the third step I do is remove the ta. I am left with sod, noon, sod, and ra on sukoon. Now, can you read this word? There is a sukoon on this noon.
Mm.
There is a sukoon on this noon. There is a sukoon on this noon. And there is a sukoon on this noon. Now you have a 2 sukoon problem. Too much sukoon is also not good for health. Okay? So there's a 2 sukoon problem. Now how do we solve this problem? To solve this problem, so when you produce a command and you end up in a situation where you have sukoon in the beginning, and you can't read the word. Okay, so then you have to give that word a stick, and that stick is an alif. You need to give that word a stick so it can hold on and keep on going. Okay, now that stick is an alif. Now that question is, the question is what haraka this alif should get. Should it get u, should it get a, or should it get e? What should it get? And for that you have to know the huwa form of this fi'l. So the huwa form is yansuru. So what you do in your mind, you go back to the huwa form and you find the second last letter of that huwa form, which is sawd here. Which one? Second last. Second last letter. And you check the haraka on that second last letter. Okay? Now listen carefully. I'll say that again. So when you are in a situation where you have a fi'l, you're making a command, and it ends in a two sukoon problem, and you can't read it. So you have to give it a helping stick, which is alif. To find the haraka on the alif, you have to go back on the huwa form. And in the huwa form, you have to go to the second last letter of that fi'l. Right? And you find what haraka is there. Okay? Once you have found that, it becomes easy. So if it is dhamma, like in this case, if it is dhamma, you give it dhamma. If it is anything other than dhamma, you would give it kasra, like this. In this case, it's dhamma. So you will have unsur as your command. Okay? Let's do the process again.
इसमें जब हम हुआ फॉर्म में गए थे सेकंड लास्ट हरकत देखने के लिए, तो वो इस केस में सेम ही नहीं होगी जो सौद आप एंड वाले वर्ड में आपको जो सौद पे मिल रही है वो?
Absolutely, this is same. This sawd is same. This sawd is same. Okay, but the fails can be more complex. This is simple fail, 3 letters only. There can be fails in which you have multiple letters. Right. So it's always is the easiest to go to the huwa form because that's the simplest form of the fail to detect that. Okay, so yes, you can see this haraka, and you know this is the second last letter, and just put the same. If it is dhamma, you put the dhamma. Okay, if it is anything other than dhamma, you put a kasra. Let's do another example. So the same fail that I made a mistake on. Yazhabu. Yazhabu. Okay, so yazhabu in the second person becomes tazhabu. Tazhabu becomes the lightest madzum as tazhab. Okay. And tazhab loses the ta, it becomes something like this. And now you have a two sukoon problem. Okay, so the trick that will always work for you, of course, Bilal bhai, your trick also works here. You just look at this because you know it's a second last. So this one is the second last root letter of this word in huwa form, which is also present here. You can look on either of these. Okay, you give it a helper alif, and we said if it is dhamma, if this haraka is dhamma, you give it dhamma, otherwise you give it kasra.
Ishab.
Ishab. Ishab. Allah says in the Quran, Izhab ila fir'auna innahu taha, in Surah Nasiyat. Izhab means go to Fir'aun. So it's a command. Go to Fir'aun. Then Allah is talking to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Okay? So it's a command. Okay? Is that irregularity clear? Is that clear? So when you have two sukoon problem, you need to give a helper alif, and helper alif can have either the dhamma or the kasra. It will get dhamma if the second last root letter has the dhamma, otherwise it will get the kasra. That's what it is. Okay? And from this, you can make all those commands. You can say unsur, unsura, unsuru, unsuri, unsura, unsurna. all the 6 pronouns. Izhab, izhaba, izhabu, izhabi, izhaba, izhabna. All the 6 pronouns. Okay, same process for them. Any questions? Okay, now I'm going to give you one last abnormality with the command, and inshallah this will almost conclude what we have to study in this course. So we have a fi'l yaqulu. Used a lot in the Quran. Yaqulu. Yaqulu means he says. Okay? He says. Okay? Qala yaqulu. Qala is he said, and yaqulu is he says. Now let's try to construct this command. Okay? It's not complexity, it's basically something that Arabs do. So yaqulu becomes taqulu. Taqulu in the second person, and taqulu becomes lightest. Taqulu becomes taqul. Sorry, taqul, like this. Okay, taqul, sorry, not taqul, taqul, right? Then you go and you lose the ta. Then you have qul. Okay, qul. That's where you are, right? Now, for Arabs, qul is not cool. Okay, cool isn't cool for them. So they don't like the sound of it. In Arabic language, there are 2 vowel signs, vowel letters which are weak. One is waw, and the other one is ya. Waw and ya. The 2 vowel letters. Okay. So when you end up in this case, there is also a 2 sukoon problem. There is a sukoon on the waw. Okay. It's cool. Okay. So in that case, the weak letter gets dropped. So they drop this weak letter and it becomes qul. And this qul you see all over the place. Qul hu Allahu ahad. And that is where it comes from. Okay?
Sorry Fahad bhai, थोड़ा सा एक दफा फिर बता दें ये वाला.
We'll do again, no problem. So we had yaqulu.
Yaqulu.
We made it taqulu. Oh, yeah. Taqulu. Taqulu became taqul. Taqul, sorry.
Taqul.
With the lightest, and then you lose the ta. It became cool, which is not cool. Okay? Because cool is not cool, you lose the weak letter, which is wow. Okay?
Right.
Fatma, we cannot hear you for some reason. No, I just saw your message. We can't hear you for some reason. You can type your question. I can't read it because I'm sharing the screen. Somebody else can read it for you in the chat if you have a question. Right, so this is where the command qul comes from. Okay, so qul hu Allahu ahad. Okay? So in your notes, all of this is mentioned. So commanding, you always start with the lightest second person. You remove the first ta. Okay, it says first ta because they can be fi'ils with multiple tas. Let me give that example to you. So for example, there is a fi'il called ta'allama. Tata'allama. Sorry, not ta'allama. This is ya'allam. Yata'allama. Sorry, yata'allama. Yata'allamu. This is the fi'il. Yata'allamu means he learns. Okay. Yata'allamu. So when you have yata'allamu in the second person, you get actually two tas. Tata'allamu. Okay? And then you make it lightest, which means tata'allam. And then you go back and you remove the ta. You remove the first ta, not the second one. So it is ta'allam. It is still a command, mean learn. Okay? That's what it means in your notes. Remove the first ta. If you see multiple ta, they shouldn't concern you. You're only concerned with the first ta because that's the beginning of the present tense. Okay? That's what it means. So remove the first ta. If the word can be read, leave it alone. Just like in the case of ta'allama, we don't need to give them helper alif. Okay? Just like in the case of allim, okay, or jahid, we don't need to. Okay? If word can't be read, add a helper alif. Just like the case of unsur and izhab. Okay? If the second to last letter in huwa, present tense, has dhamma, then helper alif gets dhamma, the second last root letter, okay, in huwa form. Otherwise, the helper alif gets kasra. Okay. So here are the examples, full process. So tazhabu becomes tazhab after lightest. Removing the ta, you have two sukoon problem. You give a helper alif, and then you find out the second last root letter, which is yazhabu, which is ha. This one it has a fatha, so you give it a kasra. Ishab. In case of the yansuruf case, this is tansurna. This is the feminine case, feminine antunna case. Tansurna you make it lightest and it remains the same because it doesn't change, right? And then you remove the tha. Then you have a sukoon problem. There's a sukoon in the beginning. You give it a helper alif. And how do you find the haraka? In this case, you go back to the huwa form, which should be yansurna, and you pick up this haraka from the swad. It's a dhamma, so you give it a u. Unsurna. Okay? So this is another scenario learn, which we just did. In case of tata'allamina, this is anfi form. Tata'allamina. Okay? So tata'allamina, you make it lighter, so it becomes tata'allami. And you remove the first ta. Ta'allami. It does not require any helper alif. Okay? Is the process clear? Good. If there's nothing coming along, then I'm assuming that you get the process. Okay? Right. So
Sorry, Bhai, I think Fatma has asked a question.
Ji, Fatma.
In izhab, why it is alif, zair, or having kasra?
Yes, Fatma. The alif is having kasra because our process says, so when you have a two sukoon problem and you give a helper alif like this, you go back to the huwa form of the fi'l. The huwa form of the fi'l would be yazhabu, and you in that huwa form you find out the second last letter, which is the ha. Okay? And you check what haraka the ha has. If it has dhamma, you give the alif a dhamma, otherwise you give it a kasra. Okay? If the second last root letter has a dhamma, you give the alif a dhamma, otherwise you give a kasra. Check this out case. For example, this nasara case. In this nasara case, you also gave the helper alif, this one, but here you gave the dhamma. and you gave the dhamma because there was a u on the swad. This one. Okay, the second last letter was the swad. So noon is not the root letter. Don't confuse with the noon. The fa'il is noon, swad, and ra. This noon is the ending only. Okay, so when you're looking at the second last root letter, you're ignoring the ending. Okay, those letters are not considered. So it's the swad. That is the second root letter of the fa'il. You will find that second root letter if you know the past tense of the fa'il as well. So like nasara. So there's just three letters: the noon, swad, and ra. The second last one is the swad. So you look at this dhamma, and this dhamma actually goes all the way to the alif. When you look at this fatha does not. If it is other than dhamma, that is why you have ishab, the kasra. So there's just two harakas that this helper alif can get. It's either going to get dhamma or kasra. There's never going to be fatha on helper alif. Okay. Right. So this is an exercise. I think it's the last exercise, second last exercise in your entire course, where you need to identify if it is a commanding, if it is a forbidding, or if it is a general statement. So let's do a few of them. And then inshallah go further. So for example, if I take this one, la tuti', number 5. So is this a command? Is it a forbidding, or is it an observation? What do you think?
It's a command because it's sukoon at the end.
But there is also a la, Bilal bhai. Does command have la?
No, command doesn't have. It's forbidding.
It's forbidding statement.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a
Forbidding.
forbidding statement. Okay? Now let's look at number 7. La yughadiru. Is it command, forbidding, or observation?
Observation.
This is observation. How do we know? Because it's not lightest.
Yughadiru. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so what about number 8? Usjudu. Command, forbidding, or observation?
Yasjudu. Command.
It's a command. Very good. It was yasjuduna. It became tasjuduna. You made it lightest and it became tasjudu. You remove the tha, it end up in a sukoon problem because the scene has a sukoon. So you gave it the helper alif. Now you went back to yasjudu and you saw there is a dhamma on the jim, which is the second last letter, and you put a dhamma on the alif. So it became usjudu. So with usjudu, you can construct all the 6 commands. You can say usjud, usjuda, usjudu, usjudi, usjuda, usjudna. All the 6 commands like that. Okay. Okay. So I'll let you guys complete this. So just because today is the last lesson doesn't mean you cannot reach out to me on WhatsApp if you have questions. Ask me questions on WhatsApp. I'll help you. But your objective should be to certainly complete all of these exercises. Okay? I'm still there on WhatsApp for you to help you out, inshallah. Okay? Now, this is the last page of this course. Now, this page is cumulative practice. This is everything coming together. Okay, everything coming together. I will leave that for you, and instead of doing this, I will open up Quran and I will do few things in Quran with you. Okay, and I will leave you with this as your own assessment, as your own test. Where do you stand? Okay, and if you have questions, shoot them on WhatsApp, and I'll help you out there. Okay, is that a deal? Deal.
Yep.
Deal.
Deal.
Good. Excellent. So in last 12 minutes, I want to take you to. Let's go to a basic surah. Basic from the perspective of we all know it. Surah Ikhlas. We all know this surah. Okay. And you should know almost all the things about this surah except for few. Okay. So let's see that. Qul. What type of word is this? Qul.
It's commanding.
Come on, we can hear you, Fatima. Congratulations. Very good. Finally, got to hear you. Yes, Fatima, it's command. It's a command.
Yes.
Excellent. And if you have to produce 6 commands, it's qul, qula, qulu, quli, qula, qulna. 6 commands. Okay. So now you know it's a command. So qul, Allah is saying, say. Okay. Huwa, you know what it is, right? It's a pronoun, independent pronoun. Huwa Allahu. Is there an invisible is somewhere?
Yes. After
Independent
After huwa.
pronoun.
After huwa, right?
yes.
Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Allahu ahadun. Okay, so this is not Mawsuf Sifa. This is just an independent ism. Okay, so you know all of this. So you know Kul, you know Huwa, you know the word Allahu, you know Ahadu. Okay, so you know all of this. Okay, Allahu as-Samadu. Okay, you know this. There is an invisible is in the middle. Okay, there is an invisible is in the middle. Some may also see it as Mawsuf Sifa. Now, where I want to take you, basic is lam yalid. What is this lam? Lam.
Negation, is it?
Yeah. In lam lamma wal fal li. Lam was a harf that made the fi'l majzoom, lightest. Okay. The original form was yalidu. Okay. Lam yalid is because of the lam. Right? So yalidu means to beget. Okay. So it's usually translated, he did not father anybody. He begets not, nor is he begotten. That's how usually the translation goes. So it's pushing this meaning in the past, and it's making it lightest because of lam. Okay. And then you have a connector, wow, and then you have walam yulad. Again, this yulad is a different form of fail. It's you beginning. It's yuladu, basically made lightest because of lam. Okay, so you should be able to detect that. Okay, again, wa is a connector. Lam yakun. It was not yakun. It was it was yakuna. It was a u ending, and it is made lightest because of the lam. Okay. Then you have lahu and kufuwan ahad. It's a simple, it's a jar majroor case, and then you have the nasab, and then you have the rafa. Let me take you to a different surah where you will be able to apply it in a more comprehensive detail. Okay. Your template surah that we have been using is Munafiqun. And inshallah, I hope so, you will realize how much you know in this in the last few minutes. Okay, I'll pick up not on everything. Of course, it's 11 ayahs. We can't do it in 7 minutes. But what you should know is all of this. Iza ja'akal munafiqun. So you have ja'a as a nasara, huwa, When you have huwa, then you have a potential of an outside doer, right? So outside doer's condition is it's after and it's rafa. So you go out and you found munafiquna, which is after and rafa. So munafiquna is the outside doer of ja'a. Ja'a means he came. It becomes munafiqun came. The hypocrites come. And this ka is an attached pronoun to ja'a. And we said attached pronoun is always nasab when attached to a fi'l. Okay? So Iza ja'akal munafiqun basically translates to when the hypocrites come to you. Okay? Qalu. What is qalu? Any thoughts? What type of word is it?
It's Humanasaro, I think.
Huma nasara? Huma nasara? Is it a present tense or a past tense?
Mm,
Past tense.
Past tense.
past
It's past
past
tense.
tense.
It's hum nasaru. Right? It's qalu. Right? They said. Is they said. What is nashhadu?
Nashadu is nahnu.
Yeah, it's nahnu. Yeah, absolutely. It's present tense and it's nahnu. It was yashhadu made nashhadu. Right? So yashhadu made nashhadu. It's nahnu. Qalu means they said. Nashhadu, we bear witness. We bear witness. Okay? Innaka, you should know innaka.
Yes, it's
Harf of nasab.
nasab.
La Rasulullahi, you should know this. Right? This is idafa, and this lam is an emphasis lam because it doesn't make Rasulu jar. Okay? So what is Allah saying? When the hypocrites come to you, they said, we bear witness, indeed you are, because there's an invisible is after harf of nasab, indeed you are truly the messenger of Allah. Everyone sees this?
Yes,
Yeah? MashaAllah. Then let's go forward. And Allah. What is ya'lamu?
it's, I think,
Is it an ism? Is it past tense? Is it present tense?
Present tense.
Present
present
tense.
tense.
Present. Present. What does it translate to? If alima means he knew, what would ya'lamu mean? In present tense. He knew in present tense would mean what?
Ya'lamu.
Ya'lamu, and it will translate to? Its present tense translates, its past tense translates to he knew. So what would that be in present? It's alima ya'lamu. Alima is the past tense.
Mhm.
Right? Alima, alima, alimu, alimat, alimata, alimna, and so on. So he knew. So the present tense is ya'lamu. So what would ya'lamu translate to?
He knows.
He knows.
You know,
Yeah, he knows. So what we are saying here, and Allah, he knows. Innaka, indeed you are. La rasuluhu, truly his messenger. Everyone sees that?
yes,
Very good. إذا جاءك المنافقون قالوا نشهد إنك لرسول الله والله يعلم إنك لرسوله. You know everything about this ayah so far, okay? And wa, again, connector. Allahu, Allah, yashhadu. Now you have done nashhadu before. You've done nashhadu before. What is yashhadu?
Present tense of huwa. He.
Present tense of huwa. And nashhadu meant what? What was the translation of nashhadu?
You
We
bear
bear.
witness and
We
we
bear
bear.
witness, right? So what would yashhadu mean?
He bear witness.
He bear witness. And Allah, He bear witness. Innal
Inna.
munafiqina. Indeed, the hypocrites are la kazibuna, truly liars. You see that, everyone? This la is not harf of jar. This is emphasis because it is
Yes.
not making this jar, right? So you know all of this stuff. All of this stuff. Okay? Ittakhazu. Ittakhaza, ittakhaza, ittakhazu. What is this?
It's of Anna, I think. Ansuru. No.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's a past tense.
Yes,
The
yes.
the fi'il is ittakhaza. Ittakhaza is a past tense. Huwa ittakhaza, huma ittakhaza, hum ittakhazu. Okay, so that's the past tense. It means ittakhaza means he took. Ittakhazu means they took. They took. Ittakhazu aymanahum. Now this is not iman. This is ayman. Ayman means oaths, promises, oaths. Okay.
Yes.
What sort of construct is this? Aymanahum.
It's Idafa. I
It's
think so.
idafa. So if aymana means oaths, what would aymanahum translate to?
Their oaths.
Their oaths.
Their
Yeah,
oath.
their oaths. Ittakhazu, they took their oaths. Junnatan. This is nasab because of the font here. It's showing different. Junnatan, like this. Ittakhazu aymanahum junnatan. This is just ism in nasab, a detail, as shields. Junnatan is shields. They took their oaths as shields. Okay? There's nothing so far that you're not aware of here. Okay, of course, from based on what you have done so far. Okay. So I'm overrunning, so I just want to complete. I just want to complete up to this point. Okay, with you. Fa is a connector. Again. Saddu. Saddu is a past tense fail. Sadda, sadda, saddu. They
Yes.
blocked themselves and others. That's what it means. Sadda means he blocked himself and others. Saddu means they blocked themselves and others. Okay? So then they blocked themselves and others an sabilillahi. You should know all of this.
An is harf of jar.
Correct?
Sabilillah is Idafa construction. I think so.
Correct. An sabili and sabilillahi. From the path of Allah or away from the path of Allah.
But
So they block themselves and others from the path of Allah. Okay? It's a good surah for you to practice on. There are things in this surah, certainly, there are many things that you don't know, but what you have done in this course, it should open up a lot of things for you. Now, it's a matter of you doing your part and doing the practice, do the exercises, right? And if you are somebody who wants to continue this journey, just doing this course is just a teaser. This is a fundamental course. You've done the teaser part of the Quranic Arabic. If you think you have learned something new, if you think this has helped you build little bit better understanding of how Quran works, and your connection with the Quran has changed even a tiny bit by doing this, and you want to continue doing all of this, then let me tell you from experience and also my recommendation, this drive to learn this has to come from within you. Okay? Nobody has to force you for this. Okay? If you don't feel that drive internally, don't do this. Don't do Quranic Arabic. If you do that drive, if you have that curiosity and that urge to do this, by all means continue this journey, please. This will really, really help you. And I'll give you another thing. I'll show you the Bayina's Dream Program. Okay, this is Bayina's Dream Program. I told you in the beginning that I'm also a student of Bayina, Ustad Noman. So what you have done, this is a long program, right? So this all the way here. What you have done is intensive 1. Okay, this intensive 1 is covered in 10 days in Bayina's Dream Program. Okay, 3 hours class every day. You have done this intensive 1. Now it should give you the idea of magnitude of learning that you can do. Just by intensive 1, you know how it has impacted your relationship with the Quran. Okay, so your understanding of the Quran. Now imagine you do all of this. Okay, so just this part, for example, 4 intensives. This is 10 days, 3 hours each. 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 You will be having a completely different perspective about how you connect with the Quran. Then you go do this Nahu. This one is amazing section of this program. It has 70 something classes, I believe. Look at this. It just done 10, right? No, even more. Look. Yeah, 100 something. 127 lectures, guys. After 4 intensives. And after doing this, you are still at this point. Now, if you do complete this, you will be reading Quran, you will be reading Arabic without harakas. Okay? You'll be reading Arabic without harakas. You will go on websites like Furqan.co. This completely Arabic website. Okay? You go in tafsir, for example. You pick up whichever tafsir you like. Okay, for example, you want whichever surah, for example, you want Al-Baqarah. Okay, you want Al-Baqarah, you pick up any tafsir you like, and you'll be reading all of this yourself. Okay, that's where you will be, inshallah. Okay, after the Dream Program. So if you do want to continue, invest your energy and effort in building that connection with the Quran, and you will only benefit from it, right? If you want to continue the way I teach, right? So I don't have a course on offer right now, but what I do have is an ongoing course that is live on the YouTube. If you go to my channel, it's a course that's called Friends of Quranic Arabic. This one specifically, I think playlist. This one. This is a full playlist, and I just want to give you a perspective from lecture 1 all the way to 59. This is a slow course, 1 hour each class, almost, sometimes less. And these guys in 59 classes have learned what you have learned. Okay? So what you've learned in 10 classes, they have taken 59 classes. And the first class we did was back in about a year ago. So what they have achieved so far is what you have achieved in 10 classes because you did the intensive route. So every week there is a video that comes here. It's a lightweight pace, 30 minutes, 50 minutes, and it will continue. You see all of these things now, light and lightest present tense and things like that. The analysis of al-munafiqun and all of those things, they're all, you'll find all of that there. So you just follow this playlist and do it in your own time. Okay, this will come up inshallah every week, some new topic, and then you will be able to continue that study unofficially, not like in a live classroom, of course, but at your own pace and at your own will. Okay, if you wish, you can continue here as well. So that would be my recommendation. But I would strongly urge you to please try to continue this. Okay, you don't have to come in a live class like this. Continue here if you want to. If you have questions, throw them on WhatsApp. I'll help you as much as I can. Okay? Right? Good.
Yeah.
Jazakallah, guys. Thank you very much. May Allah make it easy for you. You have done lots of effort and invested your time. I'm super proud of all of you that you have come this far and done what you have done. It's amazing, amazing effort. Do not lose it. Try to maintain it and build that connection. It's Ramadan, and inshallah, make an intention and do your best. Right? Anyone wants to share anything, any thoughts before we close officially?
Jazakallah khair for
Jazakallah khair.
teaching us, for the opportunity. Inshallah, and hopefully we'll continue.
Inshallah. Inshallah. So
Thank you for teaching us in this way, and hope so I will practice it more and more.
inshallah, inshallah, you will. I have confidence in all of you, inshallah. Just do your best. Don't lose that connection. Okay? It's important for all of us. So thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'anil Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. If we don't speak another time, I wish you all the very best for your life and hopefully for your studies as well. Reach out if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer. Okay? Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks, Manvi. Thanks. Take care.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Allah Hafiz.